Hey guys, what's going on? It's Cardiac Bubbles here, and this is the first episode of a new series that I'm starting, where I'm going to be looking at some low-level dungeons in Vanilla WoW, and finding out if they're worth farming for gold when you hit 60. This is actually a question that I've been asking myself quite a lot lately, since I hit level 60 quite recently. I'm basically a fresh level 60 mage in this video. But I couldn't really find any information online about whether these dungeons were actually worth farming for gold when you hit 60. Everybody says to farm Dire Maul and stuff like that, so I figured I would start a series where I go through some of these low-level dungeons and find out whether they're actually worth farming. So in these videos I'm going to be doing 4 things. I'll be running through the consistent drops, so these are the things that are going to make up probably the bulk of your money. These are things like materials like cloths and ore, and anything else that drops. The notable drops, these are things like BOEs and twinking items that have low drop chance but can make a lot of gold if they do drop. The estimated gold per hour, and answering the question at the end as to whether it's actually worth farming or not. So as you can see from the video, we are in Deadmines, which is a very iconic Alliance dungeon. I figured it was fitting to have the Deadmines be the first dungeon that we cover in this series. I am playing on Alliance side and I don't have a max level Horde toon, so the dungeons that we're going to be covering in this series are mainly going to be the ones that are easily accessible to the Alliance. So the types of drops that you can expect from this dungeon are essentially just a lot of cloth and a lot of green BOEs. From this one run I managed to get 17 green BOEs, 20 ore, that's copper and coal combined, 76 linen and 72 wool. I also got the soulbound drops from the bosses, so that makes it up to a 20 plus green or above drops, which is pretty nice from just one run. In terms of notable rare drops, the only thing that really drops from the Deadmines is the Blackened Defias armor set, which is a 5-piece leather set which drops from various bosses and mobs in the dungeon. The body drops from Van Cleef, the belt from Greenskin, and then the boots, gloves and legs from random trash mobs in the dungeon. Unfortunately, the set on the auction house, the pieces go from between 20 silver for the gloves and about 1.5 gold for the legs, so you're not going to make that much money if a piece of it drops, but if you get it along the way then it's an added bonus. So if you're new to making money at max level in vanilla, or just new to vanilla in general, the biggest recommendation I can make is to download the auction house add-on that I'm using right here. This add-on's called AUX, A-U-X. It's a really good add-on that basically just undercuts the competition for you, so that your items that you're listing can always be the cheapest that are on the auction house. The method that I decided to adopt when listing these items was to basically scan the auction house for the green BOEs, and if they weren't listed or if I couldn't find any information on them, then I would just keep them and disenchant them and then list the mats. The disenchant mats that you get from these items aren't very good because they're like sub level 20 items, but it's better than taking a risk and putting them on the auction house and just having them constantly come back to you. Another option that you have as well is to take the linen and the wool that you get from this run and turn it into bags or armor. I debated turning the wool into bags, but I did a little bit of research in the auction house and found that it was probably going to be about the same as if I just listed the raw materials, so I just decided to list it as it was. So from this one run, we made just shy of 4 gold from the raw silver and copper that we picked up, the trash like the grey items, and the bind-on pickup items that we got from the boss. And assuming everything sells, we would have made about 5 gold from the auction house as well, which puts it at about 9 gold per run. This one run took me around 20 minutes, but you have to take into consideration that my bags were basically completely full, which would have meant that if you wanted to fit more than one run in, you'd have to either... Luckily I'm a mage so I can teleport out to a city and then just go back, but you'd have to run to Sentinel Hill, send it all to like an alt to keep it for you, and then run back. So that puts it at probably you're gonna only maybe get 2 runs per hour. So that brings us up to a grand total of 18 gold per hour. Unfortunately, I would say that 18 gold per hour is not worth spending the time in Deadmines to farm gold. There are so many other options out there that aren't just superior, but like absolutely eclipse the amount of money that you can make here. What I'm really trying to find with this series is a low-level dungeon that's got less risk of dying or fucking up than Dire Maul, and doesn't run into the problems that you get with open world spots like Fellcloth farming in Fellwood or farming in the ogres in Deadwind Pass, where you risk competition and ganking. Unfortunately, Deadmines doesn't beat either of those options, so my verdict is that it is not worth farming for gold at level 60. One thing is for certain though, and that is that from a 20-minute run, the linen and wool drops are pretty good, so if you wanted to level up tailoring or send it to an alt to level their tailoring, and you didn't want to spend any money, even though you could buy stacks of wool and linen for nothing on the auction house, but for whatever reason, if you didn't want to spend money, then this would be a pretty good way to farm those materials. And that brings us to the end of the video, guys, so thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the next dungeon that we cover in this series.